Hello, all you beautiful people out there, and welcome to the Vlad Mabus podcast. I am your host, as always, Vlad Mabus, and we got a great one for you today. On today's podcast, we'll be talking about the storms that cut the Blue Ridge Rock Festival short. I almost said Blue Ridge Cock Festival. Sorry about that. My review on the movie Clerks 3. I'll also be talking about the game Starfield and my thoughts on Mortal Kombat 1. Also, I forgot to mention we will be talking about sports, especially the rumors about the XFL and the USFL merging. Now, let's make this podcast our bitch, shall we? And it is a beautiful morning here, ladies and gentlemen. Kind of a beautiful morning. Sunday morning for me. Probably when you get to listen to this podcast, it's going to be probably, I think, Monday is when I'll get this posted. So, yeah, it's kind of cloudy out. We're supposed to be getting some rain here soon. So, sometime, I don't know when. So, definitely that's going to be happening. So, to kick things off, let's talk about Clerks 3. A couple of weeks ago, I decided to watch Clerks 3. I was a huge fan of the first two films, so I wanted to watch the third film. After watching it all, sorry, I kind of screwed up there a little bit. After watching it, all I have to say is I was very disappointed in the film. First of all, there's too much drama in the third one. Second, I did not understand the plot at all. The film was about them making a film that was the first movie. So they just hold on. I think okay, hold on. I'm having technical difficulties here. Um okay, why? Okay, I don't know why. Okay, there we go. We're back. I don't know why I lost the camera feed, but I did. So going back, where was I? Let's see. What was I talking? I was talking about the Clerks movie. Oh yeah, okay. Now I know where I was. So yeah, it just didn't make any sense to me. It was them making a film about the first Clerks movie, which I did not understand at all. Um, okay, I'm just like, if I mean, it's they're older, whereas in the first one they're a hell of a lot younger. So it just threw me off. I didn't understand the plot at all. That's the first one. And before I get into the next part, just want to let you guys know of a spoiler alert because if you haven't watched it already and want to watch it, then yeah, I would maybe fast forward through a little bit of this podcast because yeah, I'm about to spoil it for you. So if you don't want to hear it, then skip this part because, well, I just told you why. The third problem I had with it was they killed off Dante, and that to me was just like, "Dude, really? You're killing off one of the main characters of the movie." And it just I mean, it was just I know what, Kevin Smith was doing. He wanted to, put a nail in the coffin, and it was the way of letting fans know that there wouldn't be a Clerks 4, which okay, but, they could've done I mean, killing off Dante, they coulda done it a little bit, you know, made it more, like, hilarious of him dying instead of making it dramatic. like they did, but all in all, it was just too depressing of a movie. It was a dramedy, whereas the first 2 were, like, just solely comedies, and it's just, yeah, I waited, what? Oh, God, years for, him to do Kevin Smith to do Clerks 3, and now that we finally got it, it just I don't know. It just yeah, it was just a major disappointment. So, that's kind of my review on Clerks 3. So yeah, there's that. So, let's go ahead and move on to the next, topic here, and that has to do with the Blue Ridge Rock Festival. So I've been hearing a lot of things about the Blue Rock Festival. Apparently, there were a lot of things going on, and it was not just the weather. There was actually a meteorologist that said that the weather shouldn't have been that big of a factor. He said it wasn't that severe enough for them to cancel the rest of the festival. Um, Taking shelter, yeah, but it's been one of those just head scratchers. People were even posting things on social media. What I think it was like the tour manager or something of the band Electric Callboy that was filming, or not filming, but taking pictures of just like the bathrooms and stuff. And it was just disgusting. Uh I mean, there were just piles of trash. The bathrooms were just dirty, and the Virginia Health Department even issued multiple violations, but it wasn't enough to get the festival shut down. I don't know why, but that's what I read, is that they just it wasn't enough to get it shut down. It was just like minor violations, I guess, and they just decided that it wasn't that big of an issue to where they needed to um canceled the festival. So, which honestly they ended up doing, but that was because of another thing. When the storm hit, they had everybody go to the shuttle buses to seek shelter, but the problem was that there wasn't enough shuttle buses. So there was more demand than there was supply. And I don't even know where the other people went to get shelter, because if the buses are full, uh, where do you go? There's nowhere you can go. There's I guess they just took cover somewhere. I don't know. But, yeah, so people even contacted Virginia's attorney general about the lack of buses and the unsanitary bathrooms. I mean, yeah, I mean, I read it. It said that the attorney general he was gonna he takes this shit seriously, and he was going to look into it and see, basically what the hell happened with the festival, and why, there wasn't enough shelter. Because I mean, it's a safety concern. It really is. And so I I don't know why they didn't do a head count or anything like that. So yeah, it got festival and sorry, it got canceled. It got festival, whichever. I don't even know what that's supposed to mean, but it got canceled with the rest of the festival. And a lot of people debated, it's like, it's not that bad of a storm. Why are you canceling it? So there's that. They said they were going to issue refunds. And from what I've been told, nobody has received any refunds from the festival. So you have a lot of people that are pissed, and it makes you wonder if there's going to be a Blue Ridge Rock Festival next year. At this point, I don't know. This might be just I think they might have shot themselves in the foot with this, and there might not be another one next year because they just ruined their reputation, and now people aren't gonna wanna go. So, and you look at it, there's other festivals that people can go to. There's the Welcome to Rockville festival down in Florida. There's the what is it? Rock on do they still do that? Rock on the Range? I don't no. I don't think they do that festival anymore, but Rocklahoma, they do that one. Aftershock. What's the other one? Louder Than Life. So there's a lot of like huge festivals, rock festivals, rock slash heavy metal festivals that are happen across the country. So it's not the only one. It's a shame that it ended the way it did. And my best friend's husband, he of course was in a band, and he heard just nightmares about what happened there. And I think his band was thinking about going to it, and they're just saying like they're just happy they didn't because it was just god awful. So, oh, let's see. What do we got for our next topic? Of course, the sports report. It is now time for the sports report where I give results of what's happening in the NFL, NBA, NHL, MLB, and other leagues as well. So let's get into it. Okay, I'm gonna let that pass. That was awful. That was really awful. I could have done better. First, we are going to be talking about some breaking news about the XFL and the USFL. It is rumored that the two leagues could be merging. From what I've been reading, it looks like this is going to be a done deal. So, what are my thoughts on this? Personally, I am all for it. I think this would benefit both leagues. The cool thing about it is that the only city that has both a XFL and USFL team is Houston, which has the Gamblers, that's the USFL, and the Roughnecks of the XFL. Would both teams be in Houston after the merger, or would one team stay and one go? So that's definitely something to think about. I mean, Houston doesn't have, two teams in any sport. You know, they only have one. You got the Texans, you got the Rockets, you got the Astros. Um what's the other one? Of course, they don't have an NHL team, but yeah, I mean, when you think of a city having two teams, there's two cities that come to mind, both, and those are Los Angeles and New York. So yeah, this could be very interesting. I don't know if they're going to be doing some moving around. I heard in the USFL, aren't they like the Memphis Showboats moving? I heard down to Tampa or something. Because Tampa no longer has an XFL team. They did. The Vipers used to play there, but then when The Rock and Danny Garcia bought the league, um, they moved the Vipers to Vegas. So, which honestly, that they gotta work something out with Sam Boyd Stadium because that uh was it Cashman Stadium or whatever is where they were playing. That that stadium is just a dump. I'm sorry, like it was just so hopefully they can work that out, move the Vipers to Sam Boyd Stadium. That would be the best the best option. So let's see. So who do we got? We got like the Michigan Panthers. Okay, we got the Michigan Panthers. The USFL. Who was what other teams are there? Because I think it's just on the East Coast. The USFL, they don't have really any teams. They don't have any teams on the West Coast. Not that I can think of. It's like the East Coast and Midwest. Um, the Birmingham Stallions, they got that team. Um, what what other teams? I can't think of any other teams, but whereas the XFL, they got at least one team on the West Coast. That's the Seattle Sea Dragons. They used to have the Los Angeles Wildcats, but they got rid of their team. But I think knowing the Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, and Danny Garcia, it was a tough move because they wanted San Antonio to have a team, so they founded the Brahmas. And I think they will eventually bring the Wildcats back. It's just they something they had to do. They had to get rid of a team, and unfortunately, that was the Wildcats. And yeah, so hopefully they will bring the Wildcats back. Uh, Probably not for the merger, but yeah, I mean, the other question I have is that what would this new league be called? The ex-USFL? The USXFL? Oh, and this one, the the SUXFL. I'm not joking. That was actually one of the recommendations. I think people were just joking. I saw that somewhere. The Sucks FL. No, no, no. They're not going to call it that. But um, yeah, it makes you wonder. Like, they're going to have to change the name of the league. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's weird because when the NFL and AFL merged, I mean, it was just the AFL. The NFL basically just consumed the AFL. Um, got all their teams, the Jets, the Bulls, the Raiders, the Dolphins, the Patriots, the Steelers, and I could go on and on. Um, so it makes you want. Oh no, were the Steelers in the AFL? I can't remember, but were they? I don't know. I gotta look that up. I think they were in the AFL. Maybe I'm wrong. I might be wrong on that, but uh, so yeah, they might do that. They might just keep one of the league names, the XFL, and just absorb all the USFL teams, or it might be vice versa. You might have the USFL and just absorbing all the XFL teams. I mean, it'd make more sense if they just kept the USFL name because the XFL, that the X originally stood for Extreme Football League. That's that's basically what it was called. So I don't know. I don't know. That's something that they'll come up with. So man, I just I just don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see, man. We'll have to see. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm trying to get something set up on my computer, but I can't. Where is it? How is it? Oh, there it is. All right. So now that I've gotten that out of the way about the XFL and USFL merger possibly happening, let's take a look at college football. So we got New Mexico versus Hawaii. Hawaii winning that 20-17. Fresno State just dominating Kent State 53-10. And the Washington Huskies taking on the California Golden Bears. The Huskies win it 59-32. And another Pac-12. I cannot talk. Pac-12 matchup between the USC Trojans and the Arizona State Sun Devils. USC coming out on top 42-28. And then we have Eastern Washington taking on UC Davis. Eastern Washington victorious in that one, winning a close one 27-24. So there's some of the games. Let's go on to the next page. We got the UNLV Rebels and UTEP. I'm just gonna call it UTEP. I think you know what I'm talking about. The Rebels winning it 45-28. Then Southern Utah taking on Western Illinois. Southern Utah coming out on top 37-17. And then we have Utah State taking on James Madison, the university. Of course, yeah, the university. JMU winning it 45-38. Oh, and look at this one. Montana State taking on Weber State. Montana State winning in a shutout 40-0 against Weber State. And then we got the North Carolina Tar Heels taking on Pittsburgh, with North Carolina winning it 41-24. Then we got UCF taking on Kansas State. Kansas State winning it 44-31. Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns taking on Buffalo. Louisiana winning it 45-38. Northwestern taking on Minnesota. Northwestern wins a close one, 37-34, and that game went into overtime. And then, here's a good one. We got the Ohio State Buckeyes taking on the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Ohio State winning this in a close one, 17-14. And Mississippi State taking on South Carolina. The University of South Carolina, that is. South Carolina winning it 37-30. And here's the last row, last section of, or the last few games, I should say. The Georgia Bulldogs defeating UAB 49-22. Georgia looking very good. That, they're the new, I would have to say, the new top dogs, no pun intended, in the SEC. So, yeah, man, that Georgia Alabama feud just got a whole lot of, more intense. So then we have our next game. We got the Texas Longhorns taking on the Baylor Bears. That other college in Texas, with the Longhorns winning it 38-6. And then we got the Iowa Hawkeyes taking on the Penn State Nittany Lions. Penn State winning it 31-0. And on our next one, we got Indiana taking on Akron. Indiana wins a close one in final overtime. Was this like 4 overtimes? Jeez. So they went in 4 overtime periods? Man. So Indiana winning a close one against Akron. And then finally, our last game here, we got Missouri taking on Memphis. Missouri winning it 34-27. So that's going to do it for that one. Now, we're going to go from college to pro. Let's see what's happening in the NFL. Few games are actually going on right now, and here they are. We got an AFC East matchup between the New England Patriots and the New York Jets. First quarter underway. Both teams Haven't scored yet, so that game just getting underway. Only I think yeah, only 2 minutes into the game. And then we got an NFC matchup between the Atlanta Falcons and the Detroit Lions. No score in that yet. As yeah, only 2 minutes into the first quarter. And then we got here's a matchup in the AFC. The Denver Broncos taking on the Miami Dolphins. That's a little different one. The Dolphins already scoring in that one, leading 6-0. And then let's see, we got a matchup in the AFC South. Ooh, I just saw a good sorry, I just saw a good topic I'm gonna get into later. The Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Houston Texans. No score in that one yet. And then the Tennessee Titans taking on the Cleveland Browns. No score in that one as well. And here we go. First quarter between the Packers and Saints. No score in that one. Then we got Commanders and Bills. No score. A lot of these. We got the Vikings taking on the Chargers. And also the Indianapolis Colts taking on the Baltimore Ravens. No scores in any of those games. So hopefully we'll get some scoring in here too. Sorry, scoring in here. I'm done apologizing. Hopefully we'll get some scoring here soon. Of course, these games just started. And then later today, this afternoon, we got the Carolina Panthers taking on the Seattle Seahawks. That will be at 1:05 p.m. And then a couple of games happening this afternoon as well. More games. We got the Chicago Bears taking on Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. So we got Fields versus Mahomes. And I'm going to get into the Bears here in a little bit. Yeah, I have to say my prediction: Chiefs are gonna win it. I mean, yeah. As much as I hate to say it, yeah, I don't see the. I will be shocked. That would be the biggest upset this season if the Bears can defeat the Chiefs, but I don't see that happening. And also this afternoon, we got the Dallas Cowboys taking on the Arizona Cardinals. The Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. And here's a good one. The Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And then at 5:15 p.m., we got the Los Angeles Rams taking on the Cincinnati Bengals in a Super Bowl rematch. And here's some other featured games we have on. Well, most of these are on October 1st, except for one, which is on September 28th. We have an NFC North matchup between the Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers. Wait, what the hell? Does that say 6:30 in the morning? 6:30? Is that a typo? Is it 6:30 in the morning or is it supposed to be 6:30 at night? Oh, you know what? I think that's one of the overseas games. One of the games happening overseas. I don't know if that's the London game or the Germany game, but that's probably why okay, okay. That that makes sense. So we got the Atlanta Falcons taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's happening at the crack of dawn, 6:30 in the morning. Then we have the Miami Dolphins taking on the Buffalo Bills in an AFC East matchup. Also, an AFC North matchup between the former Cleveland Browns, now Baltimore Ravens, taking on, of course, the Cleveland Browns. Ooh, and this is going October 1st. The Denver Broncos taking on the Chicago Bears, the blue and orange bowl, if you want to call it, since both teams wear the same colors. Um, but yeah, that's uh, the NFL game so far. And let's get into okay. This is what I wanted to talk about. This is so I've just heard that Jim Harbaugh, the head coach of the Michigan Wolverines, is once again trying to. I thought he was done with the NFL, but I guess not. I wonder because he used to play for the Bears, and I'm wondering if he's watching the Bears and he's like, "I just can't take this anymore. I can't sit idly by and watch the team I used to play for in the NFL just tank like this." I'm wondering if he's just like, "I got to do something." Now, there were talks about him maybe coming to Chicago. I guess those fell through because nothing has happened. He's still with Michigan. So so yeah, let's see. Try I'm reading this trying to see. Oh, okay. He met with the Denver Broncos for the head coaching position earlier, but he ended up going back to Michigan. He's also was in talks with the Los Angeles Chargers. Yeah, this is but I don't know, man. I don't know. Things aren't looking good for the Bears. They might try again to try to get him. Um, I don't know. It's just one of those things. I thought he was done with the NFL because I remember he interviewed with the Vikings and they couldn't reach an agreement. And so after that, he pretty much said, I'm done with the NFL. So I don't know if he just changed his mind and wants to get back in the NFL as a head coach, but that's what I remember is that him and the Vikings couldn't reach an agreement. So he just said, I'm going back to college football because you guys just can't we can't reach an agreement. So yeah, there's that. All right. So obviously the NBA and NHL are still in their off seasons, but we got some major league uh baseball as the regular season winding down and the postseason is on the horizon. And let's see, we got one game happening right now, top of the first, between the Toronto Blue Jays and the Tampa Bay Rays. Of course, yeah, that just started, so there's no score yet. And then today we got okay, yeah, today is 24th. The Arizona Diamondbacks taking on the New York Yankees. The Atlanta Braves taking on the Washington Nationals. The this is a good one. It's going to be Sox versus Sox as the White Sox take on the Red Sox. And then the Baltimore Orioles will take on the Cleveland Guardians. And let's see, we have the Milwaukee Brewers taking on the Miami Marlins, the Pittsburgh Pirates taking on the Cincinnati Reds, the Kansas City Royals taking on the Houston Astros, the Los Angeles Angels taking on the Minnesota Twins, and the Rockies taking on the Chicago Cubs. And here's some more. We have the Seattle Mariners taking on the Texas Rangers, the Detroit Tigers taking on the Oakland Athletics, the St. Louis Cardinals taking on the San Diego Padres, the New York Mets taking on the Philadelphia Phillies, and the Atlanta Braves taking on the Washington Nationals. That's another game in the series. And then we have once more the San Francisco Giants taking on the Los Angeles Dodgers. I don't know what game of the series that that is, but these two have already faced each other. I don't know if that's game 2 or game 3, but yeah. Okay, and these are just past games. So yeah, the last time those two met, it was the Dodgers with a shutout 7-0, and then the Cardinals victorious over the Padres 5-2. The Kansas City Royals defeating the Houston Astros 3-2, and then the Texas Rangers with the shutout as they beat the Mariners 2-0. So, do they have the playoff picture here or the postseason picture, whatever you want to call it? Because I saw the playoff picture and it looks like the Cubs got knocked out of the postseason. I mean, they could still get back in, but right now they're out of the postseason. So they're on the bubble. They could still fight their way to get into the postseason, but right now they're currently out. So let's go back to sports and okay. I need a vent here now. I told you I was going to talk about the Chicago Bears when I was doing the standings, and this is why. Uh, sorry, I'm trying to get my breath because I'm going to have to vent. All I have to say is that this has to be one of the biggest hype teases in the franchise's history. Many people thought the Bears and the Lions were going to be the top two teams in the NFC North. However, that's not the case. Detroit might be turning things up around, turning things around, sorry, but the Bears aren't. They're currently 0-2, and now that they're taking on the Chiefs today, yeah, that's pretty much they're going to be 0-3, which makes a lot of people wonder if Justin Fields is a bust. So there's that. I have to say there is a quarterback curse for the Bears. A quarterback curse. We have not been able, but kind of think of it. Maybe the Lions also have kind of a quarterback curse too. Now that I think of it, because only, yeah, maybe that is right. But I'm not. I'm not even going to watch the Chiefs game, the Chiefs Bears game. I know how that's going to turn out. It's probably going to end up being a lopsided game with the Chiefs coming out on top because, and not only that, Bears fans also have to sit there looking at Mahomes and be like, he could have been our quarterback. We had the chance to draft him, but who did we draft instead? Mitchell Trubisky. And look how that turned out. I don't know what's happening with Justin Fields. I don't know if it's him. I don't know if it's the coaching. I don't know. But I am telling you this right now that I have made a promise to myself because I have a Bears jersey here. It's a Brian Urlacher jersey. Brian Urlacher, one of my favorite players, played for the Bears in the 2000s and a little bit of the 2010s. The guy was a beast. Um, but I'm telling you right now that I refuse to wear that jersey until the Bears have a winning season. So if that jersey has to collect dust, then so be it. But I'm not putting that on until I see the Bears have a winning season. So yeah, I'm because right now I'm furious. We even drafted was an offensive lineman who didn't allow any sacks in his college career. Now I don't know if that's still happening. It was a good move because we needed a better O line, but we need a clean house with our own line. O line. We need a clean house. We need to release a majority of them and bring in a new O line because it is getting so bad. I wish we still had Khalil Mack. I don't know why we got rid of him, but it could be that they just could not afford to keep him any longer, so they had to trade him. Is he playing for the? Yeah, he's playing for the Chargers. So, but this is something that I don't even want to watch the NFL anymore. Because the Bears are just doing so bad. I mean, yeah, we're gonna get another draft pick, and it makes me wonder: should we have used that draft pick to draft another quarterback? Because I don't know. I mean, Jim McMahon, I think you know he was, of course, the quarterback during the '85 Bears, um, and he even said that Chicago is where quarterbacks go to die. So who knows? But I'm gonna move on here. I'm gonna take a quick break here, guys. So don't go anywhere. More at the Vlad Mabus podcast coming up after this quick message. Hey guys, just wanted to take a quick minute here to tell you don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button as I'm looking at the screen instead of my camera. But don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. It'd be greatly appreciated. And also it will let you know about future episodes of the Vlad Mabus podcast. So don't forget, like seriously, hit that like and subscribe button. Stop staring at me and seriously stop staring at me and just do it. I said just do it. Anyways, back to the podcast. You better fucking do it. Good to have you back, guys. Well, I played Mortal Kombat 1, and once again, Ed Boon does not disappoint. I will be honest with you, I'm really not a big fan of the cameo fighters. They're okay, but at the same time, I'm just not that big a fan of them. The story mode was pretty decent. I'm glad they basically hit the reset button and gave some of the characters new origin stories. Uh, we've seen a lot of familiar faces that were in Mortal Kombat that really didn't make an impact. Let's see. Ashura and Havoc, they first debuted in Mortal Kombat Deception. They did not get that big of reception. They did return for Armageddon, but that's because all the other characters did. So there was that. There's that. Who else? Who else? Nitara. Nitara made her debut in Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. She's back and voiced by Megan Fox of all people, which I kind of thought was strange, but it worked. So yeah, there's that. And who else? Reiko. Yeah, Reiko. I forgot about Reiko. He first made his Mortal Kombat debut all the way back in Mortal Kombat 4. He did return for Armageddon, but that's just because that included all the Mortal Kombat characters. So he came back, which I was kind of glad. I mean, Reiko was definitely I don't think he was necessarily a bad character. It was just yeah, I don't know. It just I think Shao Kahn kind of stole a lot of his thunder because in the original timeline, of course, Shao Kahn's emperor and Reiko is his general. So most trusted general. So yeah, but that's about it. Pretty much all the others are popular characters that have been in Mortal Kombat before and will in the future. Liu Kang, Kung Lao, Johnny Cage. No Sonya. Sonya is in it as a cameo fighter, but I think honestly she's going to be DLC. The same could be said for Kano as well. We will have to see about that. But yeah, I'm hoping. Let's see, they get more. Uh, what's the word I'm looking for? More costumes. Now, I think we will get their classic costumes because they've already have them for the cameo fighters, so they've already been done. They just have to put them on like the actual characters themselves. Um, but yeah, it's definitely a great game. I don't even know. I'm trying to think here. Utter silence. It kind of also went into more origin stories, like how Quan Chi's skin turned, like, chalk white. It showed that. We also, for the first time ever, got to actually see Jared. Now, Jared had been mentioned in past Mortal Kombat games, but he'd never been a fighter. He never was a playable character, anything like that. He was just mentioned, but now we actually got to see what he looked like. So that was awesome. The customization they did bring back, but I wasn't a huge fan of it like I was in Mortal Kombat 11 because you could only customize one piece of their equipment, whether it be their armbands, their mask, whatever. So not a huge fan of that. Um oh, and here's one. I also heard that the Nintendo Switch version was absolutely horrible. Don't get me started on the graphics. I saw the graphics for that and I'm just like, is this is this Mortal Kombat 1 for the PS2? Because that's what it looked like. The graphics were just so bad. I don't know what NetherRealm Studios was doing, if it was just I don't know. So yeah, there's that. Just absolutely don't get me started on the um yeah, the graphics just horrible. Just horrible. Okay. Just trying to see where we are on time. Just want to do. Okay. Now we're going to start a new segment here called Tales from Beyond, where I talk about the events that I have experienced outside of the podcast. Last week, I went down to Prineville, Oregon to visit my friend Ashley and her husband Jay. You might have seen them on the first episode of the podcast. Had a great time while I was down there, did some shooting and fishing as well. Well, I didn't really do any fishing. Their daughter did, but not me. Unfortunately, it'll probably be the last time until 2024 that I'll be able to go down there because I got to get over the mountain in order to get there. And in the winter months, it's almost impossible for me to get over there. So I got to wait until the snow melts. I think in the future, what I might do is get some podcast equipment shipped down there and do the podcast with Ashley and Jay when I'm down there. So yeah, that's definitely something I'm thinking about doing just because it'd be easier and then it's just hard for them. Like Ashley, she wanted to do sorry, I just spit on my mic. She wanted to do the podcast every week, but it's just she gets too busy and like I talked to her about it and she's like, "Yeah, I think I'll just be a guest on the podcast," which I said was fine. So that's why I'm doing it solo. Uh So yeah, let's see. What else did I do this week? This past Thursday, I went over to my buddy JB's house, drank some beer, played some metal, and jerked each other off. No, just kidding. Only ladies get to jerk me off. JB, on the other end, I don't know. I know when he's listening to this, he's going to kill me. I just know it. But no, just to clarify, he is straight and married. Just an FYI. So yeah, that's just a joke. It's a joke, people, seriously. So, a little fun fact about me is that I used to be in a metal band, a deathcore band to be exact. I was one of the vocalists for the band because we had two vocalists, and I was one of them. Now, the band was actually called Arm Yourself. I think it was, yeah, okay. Yeah, it was Arm Yourself. We were a deathcore band. So we had, and I'll even clarify this with Dr. Arpeggio. because I want him to tell the story as well because it's a pretty funny story. We'll get more into this when I have him on the podcast sometime in the future. So it's definitely a good story, but I'll kind of just give you kind of the highlights of the show or the story highlights of the show. Uh, so yeah, here it is. One time I left my journal, which had all my songs in it. I left it at the drummer's house. The drummer for our band read the lyrics for one of my songs and called Dr. Arpeggio and told him that my lyrics were about burning orphanages, which I don't know where the hell he got that idea. Okay? I don't know where because I never once wrote a song about burning orphanages. But long story short, he freaked the fuck out. He freaked the fuck out. He called Dr. Arpeggio and he's like, dude, this guy's writing about songs about burning orphanages and shit. And I don't want this guy over at my house. And at that point, Dr. Arpeggio had no choice but to say, okay, well, basically, you're basically telling me that I have to kick him out of the band. So he messaged me. He's like, dude, you're out of the band and everything else. He didn't tell me that that was the reason. He blamed it on tempo, which to this day, I did not have a problem with tempo. I don't know what he's talking about. No, I think I kind of struggled with that at first. But yeah, it just it was just one of those things. So I got kicked out. Our other vocalist, who was Booze Dozer, he ended up taking a job down in California, so he left. Our drummer ended up joining the Navy. He just kinda just faded out. Now, they brought in another guitarist, and he was in a band, and he wanted to start another band, but he kind of just wanted to come in and just take everything over, which Dr. Arpeggio was not all for. He even, would show the guy his lyrics, and the guy would go, "Oh, we should add this, this, and this." He's like, "Dude, no. Like, this is my music. I'll do whatever ever the hell I want with it." So, there was that, and just after he left, he just stopped showing up for whatever reason, probably because he tried to take over the band and it didn't work out in his favor, so he said, "Screw it, I'm out of here." Our our bassist, the Chin Man, he was our bassist. He was originally also gonna do guitar, but he switched over to bass. He, what was it? He just stopped showing up. He just kinda just flaked out, and we actually made a joke like, "Yeah, he just has his head up in the pussy clouds. That's why he doesn't show up anymore." So he ended up not showing up. And then last but not least, our drummer, after the guitarist left, he just kinda stopped practicing. Like, we just didn't they didn't practice after that. We would there would be times when he would call it would be like last minute. He would call our Dr. Arpeggio and be like, "Hey, let's practice." And then in the end, nothing would happen. So, and he would text me. He's like, "Yeah, I don't think there's going to be practice today." So there was that. It was really one of those things that just kind of just fell apart. Our drummer ended up joining the Navy, and we have not talked to him since. So, yeah, which is hard because we lived in an area where it's scarce, like, to find metal drummers. There's not that big of a You go down to like one of the major cities, like especially California, a lot of metal bands coming out of California, or you know, just if you're near a major city, it's easier. You live in like a rural area, it's just good luck. It is hard. But yeah, so that's a little fun fact about me that I was once in a deathcore band. Didn't work out the way we wanted, but still, I think what was it? I think yeah, I tried starting a side project that didn't really work out either. It's just yeah, but we're gonna go ahead and move on. So that's well, fun fact about me. So before I close out this episode, I wanted to talk about mental health. Um, you know, just to let you guys know, I'm not you're not the only one that deals with, shit in their life. There is other people. None of us are perfect. I bet you there's not one person on this planet that has lived a just what I would call a flawless life, just perfect all the way through. No, everybody has had their ups and downs in their life. And I'll be the first one to tell you that I suffer from depression, anxiety, and ADHD. And it's never easy. Um, Depression sucks because you feel just dead all the time. You don't want to get out of bed. You just sit there, lay in bed, and watch the world just turn, basically, and you just feel dead. Anxiety is also bad because your heart just starts racing, and it's hard for you to relax, and it's just your heart just starts beating fast, and it's just irritating. But yeah, uh, it's hard. Um, you know, I told you in the last episode that I had to take some time off to deal with some mental health shit in my life, and it was not easy. I just needed a break. There was just a lot of stuff going on. And the reason why I went to that place, that dark place, was I looked at all my friends, and almost all of my friends are married and moved out, and I'm not. And that really just I looked where everybody else's life was, and then I looked at my own life. And it was hard because I just felt like I did not accomplish anything in my life. And hold on. Oh, okay, I'm back. Sorry, I had to sneeze. It was tough. It was really tough. Um, but I talked I talked to Ashley about it, and she made a good point. Is just remember, guys, not everything is as what it seems. You might see the perfect couple out there posting pictures on Facebook and just showing what a perfect life they have. But this is where what I call behind the curtain um theory, or not theory, but behind the curtain is what I call it. This is a term I use because, and the reason I call it that is because when if you go to like a play or something, you see what happens when the curtain opens up and they're all playing. Now, once that curtain closes, you don't see what happens behind there. And that's why I call it that. You could have somebody living a perfect life and everything else, but behind the scenes, it could be a different story. Behind the scenes, that that couple you saw on Facebook could be one of the most dysfunctional couples ever. You don't know. You could see one person saying, "Oh, look, I got this fancy car, I got this huge mansion, everything." Next thing you know, they get arrested for tax evasion. So you don't know. You could see some guy pull up in, let's say, a Ferrari with some hot chick next to him going down the road. And you'll look at him and be like, "Man, I wish I had that life. I wish I was as successful as he is." But here's the thing. In reality, that's not his car. It's his dad's car. He's just borrowing it. The lady next to him, that's not his girlfriend. That's his sister. And that right there is everything not everything is what it seems. Like I said. So don't believe your eyes can deceive you. When you're in that just dark place, there's always a way out. And there's 3 steps that you can take to get out of that dark place. And it's stop, think, problem, solve. Instead of saying my life is over, my life is over. It's not. Think to yourself, how can I get out of this? What can I do? And just keep problem solving. It's called problem solving for a reason. And keep doing it and keep doing it. Your life isn't over. It's just beginning. Because if you do what is easy, your life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, your life will be easy. Choose the hard path. So that's going to do it for this episode. I'm sorry, I don't mean to get all dramatic towards the end. Just wanted to do something serious for once. So yeah, but that's all the news I have for today. Um, I'm gonna edit this later today. It's actually still morning. So yeah, it's did this at the crack of dawn. I just wanted to get it out of the way. I was gonna do it last night, but I just said no, I'll just do it tomorrow. One of my biggest crimes, I guess, is procrastination. So yeah, so that's gonna do it for the Vlad Mabus podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, as you probably see the banner scrolling on the bottom. Which, yeah, it's something I added. So kind of just to remind you guys. And I'll see you next time.